Good evening and welcome to Friday night's calendar with me, Lara Rostron and Matt Price.
Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Here are tonight's main stories.
Just what is happening to Bradford's brand new Odeon?
Should you have spent £43 million on this?
We asked the council leader when it will open and how much it'll all cost the taxpayer. Also tonight.
Fears for the future of police funding in South Yorkshire.
There is a 16 million shortfall that has already occurred, and then going forward, £49 million, which isn't reflected in those accounts either.
We'll have the full details of the fallout after the Force found a multi-million pounds black hole in its finances. Plus,
straight arms.
Lessons in life-saving.
The person's dead, the person's dying, and anything you do is not gonna make that worse.
The footballer whose heart stopped during a game takes training with a difference in Leeds. And
how Elliot Payne has gone from driving his dad's milk float around North Yorkshire to the brink of breaking rallying records.
good evening. First tonight, it's billed as the latest jewel in Bradford's cultural crown, but the council's leader has told Calendar she still doesn't know when it will open its doors to the public.
Yes, Bradford's Odeon has now rebranded as Bradford Live, and it was all but completed in July after a full refurbishment that promised to bring some of the biggest music names to the city.
After its operator pulled out and with fresh questions about the overall cost to the taxpayer, Amelia Beckett was given access to the site and tried to find some of the answers.
It's an architectural relic now restored to its former glory. And today its doors were opened, but not to the public.
After standing abandoned and derelict for years, this is a hugely impressive transformation. But it's one that cost double initial estimates, £43 million of that taxpayers' money. It was ready in July. We were told it would open in November, but now, who knows?
It had been due to operate under the NEC Group, but after months of secrecy, last week they pulled out, saying they wanted to focus their business to Birmingham and leaving the council scrambling to find a new operator.
Councillor Hinchcliffe, did you simply pick the wrong operator?
I think there's lots of different operators who are interested in this building, and as you'll have seen around the country, there's lots of investments going in as well. Operators have changed a lot since we had this vision for this venue.
But it's standing empty. It could be making money right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So it will be making money in the future, and it's not just the money it's making inside here though. It's what is also contributed to the economy as a whole.
Which isn't happening now.
No, absolutely. But in the future, you'll get many more visitors coming. You'll get more visitors actually investing in the pubs, the bars, hotels. So as part of the future, it is a really great plan.
And we've spoken to people who are really happy that this is happening, and they like the fact that this venue has been regenerated. But they're annoyed and they're angry because £43 million of their money, taxpayers' money, has been put into this. And for months, they've had nothing but secrecy.
So obviously we've had to follow legal advice at all times and continue to do so. And I know that's frustrating for people, but this will be a great asset.
It's no secret that the council is struggling at the moment. There's an £120 million black hole. Should you have spent £43 million on this?
So we have to spend on regeneration and for growth. Without growth, we have no future as a city.
That regeneration had led Yaz to open this coffee shop just up the road only 2 months ago. But news of Bradford Live losing its operator has left a sour taste.
I think it's really disappointing and doing it at the last minute, whereas Bradford has been awarded City of Culture 2025. This would have been a really, really good opportunity for Bradford.
But the president of the city's Chamber of Commerce says it's vital that whoever does run this venue operates it to its full potential.
It is frustrating, but if you've got an operator who really doesn't see that this is for them, then we want an operator who really does see the potential of this stunning building and the venue itself, which is absolutely amazing.
The council says it fully believes it will find a new operator. And while we don't know when, what's clear is 2024 won't be the year this goes live.
Well, Amelia is with us now. Of course, you were inside the Odeon today. You got some answers, but do we know when it's going to open to the public?
Well, of course, I asked Councillor Hinchcliffe that question, and all she could tell me was sometime in 2025. That, of course, depends on when and if they manage to find an operator. I asked how many operators are interested. Again, she told me she couldn't tell me that information. Look, I saw inside the venue today, and it really is stunning, but this whole saga ahead of Bradford's year as City of Culture is not a very good look.
It's not, but it would be so great to see it up and running, wouldn't it? Thank you very much, Amelia.
Thank you. Let's take a look at some more of the day's news now. And a man has denied strangling his partner who died in a house fire a month later, along with their 3 children. 29-year-old Bryony Goworth and her children Dennisty, Oscar and Aubrey all died in the fire at their home on Westbury Road in August. Her fiancé, Jonathan Birtle, was in custody at the time after being arrested for allegedly assaulting her a month earlier. He's due to stand trial in January 2026. South Yorkshire Police say there will be an inevitable impact on services after what's been described as a significant error in accounting led to the discovery of a multi-million pounds black hole in its budget.
Region's Mayor Oliver Coppard today admitted that over the past few years, the office has effectively lost £65 million after money was paid out for essential equipment without being accounted for.
Well, our reporter Helen Steele has been looking into the details and following the fallout. She's with us now live. Helen, what's gone wrong?
Well, it hasn't been a great day for staff here who woke to the news that there is a £65 million shortfall in the budget. Now, what exactly happened? Well, over in the Mayor's office, they set the budget and buy things like cars and kit. But back in 2019, they spent £16 million, which it hasn't yet repaid. And then it went on to spend £49 million, which it hasn't budgeted for. Well, what does that mean for policing? Well, the Mayor, Oliver Coppard, made no bones about the fact that it could have a significant impact on policing.
We now need to work out not just what went wrong, but how to fix it. And that's what I'm particularly focused on, working with the government, working with South Yorkshire Police to make sure we have all the resources we need to make sure that we are delivering the services that people in South Yorkshire would, of course, expect.
To not set the budget properly and then not be able to police maybe with the priorities that they want to, that's quite a big mess up, isn't it?
It's a huge problem and it is a huge error. There is no denying that, there's no doubting that. That's why I'm bringing in an external team to look at exactly what went wrong.
Now, the Mayor there only took on responsibility for police and crime earlier this year. So, Helen, has the former Commissioner, Dr Alan Billings, had anything to say about this?
Well, yes, he did, and he took a rather different view from Oliver Coppard. He said that unexpected costs do often arise and that South Yorkshire Police would probably have had to make cuts anyway. But that didn't stop him from being shocked.
Well, why hasn't it been found before when the budget every year is examined not just by me, when I was PCC, by the finance officers at the police and at the Office of Police and Crime Commissioner?
I guess it must have come as a bit of a shock this morning to you.
Yes, came as a total shock. I was on my way to Waitrose and had to stop in my tracks because I knew nothing of this.
Well, it was a shock too for community leaders who experienced the violence during August riots, which put a huge strain on police. Well, today we spoke to an anti-racism campaigner who welcomed the investigation but said it can't have an impact on frontline policing.
Whatever happened, it happened, but funds must be available for police because police are already stretched. Very recently, they have come out and they have been able to protect the public from an unprecedented scale of violence on the street.
Well, in response to that, the Mayor said that he simply doesn't know what kind of impact it will have until after the investigation, but he did hope that it wouldn't affect staffing levels and that the government would step in and provide some financial help.
OK, Helen, thank you very much.
Now, a year since professional footballer Tom Lockyer was brought back to life on the pitch after suffering a cardiac arrest during a Premier League match, a survey of football fans has found almost half wouldn't know how to help someone in the same situation.
Well, now, and as our reporter Michael Billington has been finding out, Tom has been giving fellow countryman and Leeds United captain Ethan Ampadu some life-saving lessons in CPR.
It was a moment that the footballing world held its collective breath. Last December, Luton Town midfielder Tom Lockyer lay motionless on the pitch after suffering a cardiac arrest during a Premier League game.
Your hands like that, straight arms, and then to the beat of Staying Alive.
Now fitted with a defibrillator, Tom is on the mend. As part of his rehabilitation, he caught up with his friend and Leeds United captain Ethan Ampadu to show him the importance of learning CPR.
I'm not trained because I've never thought about it before, which maybe is a bit oblivious to me, or whether it's the wrong decision I took. But I'm here sat now, and I appreciate Tom explaining everything to me today. And I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to be pushing all the players to be doing it.
As hard as it was for me at the time, I looked at it and I thought, right, how do I turn this negative into a positive? And for me, that was trying to get as many people as possible to learn CPR because it really does save lives. You know, just look at me. I'm walking proof of that.
Tom and Ethan have been international teammates together representing Wales. Now they're teaming up with the British Heart Foundation to encourage football fans to learn the potentially life-saving skill.
You never know how someone could act. It's human nature, but if you know what to do, then I think that also makes you a little bit more confident.
As morbid as it is, the person's dead, the person's dying, and anything you do is not gonna make that worse. So you might as well try and take action and try and save a life.
While it's unclear if Tom will return to football, he set Ethan a challenge for Leeds' game against Coventry tomorrow.
Every goal this weekend is £1,000 towards the British Heart Foundation. So better get your shooting boots on, son. Sorry, no pressure. Hat trick will do.
You said hat trick, so I think
I'll take one. I'll take one.
If I have a hat trick, I retire maybe. I don't know.
Hat trick or not, they'll be happy if just one person learns how they could save a life. Michael Billington, ITV News in Leeds.
No pressure for Ethan there at all for the weekend. Now then, you're watching Calendar on ITV1. Thanks for being with us, and still to come before 6:30.
With localised flooding and difficult driving conditions over the last couple of days, thankfully there's some better news to come weather-wise into this weekend. I'll have all the details later on.
After a frustrating morning, the covers have finally come off here at Headingley, as Yorkshire are in a strong position to be promoted back to Division 1.
But first, a bit of a gear change here. Do you remember your driving test, Matthew?
20 odd years ago, a reverse around the corner didn't go well. We will not go into it tonight. Talking of driving, figures show it costs an average of £860 to insure a car in Yorkshire, but it's feared rocketing premiums, tempting a growing number of younger drivers to get behind the wheel without any cover at all.
Yes, one car safety charity says that the number of late teens being caught driving without insurance have more than doubled in the last couple of years.
Premiums for young drivers have always been higher than any other age group, but they've recently spiralled. And one price comparison website says 18-year-olds are paying, get this, nearly £3,000 on average for their annual insurance. Our man Kevin Ashford has more.
Learning to drive takes time and money. And even when they've passed their test, new drivers are faced with the expensive task of getting insurance. 17-year-old Connie Howarth from Sheffield is still a learner, but has been looking at quotes.
I've had a look through, filled in all the questions, and I was quite shocked because the cheapest the insurance could have been was £2,200, and that was with a black box or trackers. So without any of that, it was £3,800 a year. So it's like getting a new car every year.
Premiums for young drivers have risen sharply recently. One car insurance comparison website says they're 77% higher than they were last year for 17-year-olds. Another website says that 18-year-olds are now paying, on average, £3,000 for their car insurance. One motoring journalist says younger drivers have always faced higher costs, but the current situation is especially tough.
It's always been the case that younger drivers tend to be a bit more carefree behind the wheel and tend to be involved consequently in more accidents. So therefore insurance has always been more expensive for 17, 18-year-olds. But we have seen quite a large jump this year, and that's because across the board in the insurance industry we've seen a huge hike.
And it's feared higher premiums mean more young drivers are being tempted to break the law. A road safety charity says convictions for uninsured drivers aged 17 to 20 have more than doubled in recent years.
The implications will be felt not just by the younger drivers who would be caught and then potentially with 6 points on their licence would then have to subsequently retest, but of course uninsured drivers and the risks that they pose has an impact upon all of us in terms of the knock-on effect that it has on everybody's insurance premiums.
Fitting what's known as a black box on a car to collect data can reward safe drivers with lower premiums when insurance is renewed. But it seems younger drivers will continue to face high costs when getting cover. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Yes, certainly is very expensive. Now, think back to those COVID lockdowns. Did you take up a new hobby? Did you, Matt?
I didn't do an awful lot, no, it has to be said. Well, it seems one of those new pastimes, which was picked up, is now enjoying a surge in popularity. Sport England says the number of people roller skating or roller blading is up from 40,000 to 70,000.
That's a lot, and many roller skating clubs say they're busier than they have been for many years. James Webster has been finding out more.
Getting on their skates in Sheffield. They come here to practice and perfect their skills.
I really like the culture around roller derby, and if I'm honest, skating is cool and I wanted to learn to skate, so it seemed the perfect sport for me.
When I first started, I was on the floor all the time, but I remember seeing people going really fast and doing fancy tricks and stuff and being like, wow, how cool would it be to do that?
It's a very inclusive space. It really is that you can come and be whoever you are. A lot of people have aliases, not everybody goes by their real name. We have a thing called derby names, and I think sometimes that's quite nice. You can escape you escape what you do in your day-to-day life and you come hit each other on skates, and it's just really fun.
Data shows skating is enjoying a significant increase in popularity. Part of the inspiration, street skaters like Rihanna. She has tens of thousands of followers on her socials.
It's like watching a gymnast, right? If you watch a gymnast and they do a backflip, you're in awe because you're just like, wow, how did you do that? You can literally go on TikTok right now and write in roller skating lessons and something's going to pop up. And that is generally because the population of skating has grown so much.
Skating like Rihanna takes a lot of practice. And it's at sessions like this one at a skating rink in Rotherham where skaters are taught those skills.
It's controlling about bending your legs as well. That makes go faster.
When I fell over just over there, it were a bit painful, yeah.
You just got to take it on the chin if you do fall over and see what happens.
I enjoy every minute of it. OK, after 3 hours I'm tired, but where else could I get that amount of exercise and enjoyment?
And is it good exercise?
Yes, it's aerobic and anaerobic, so you're exercising everything in your body.
I clearly need a lot more practice, but for those who are most competitive, they can train here to play inline hockey. Ethan Finney is in Team GB.
When COVID hit, there was a down spike in the amount of players we had and the amount of people you saw skating. So yeah, it's good to see a nice healthy spike, especially within the younger ages.
So whether it's skating with the best in the world in competition or just finding their feet for fun, pulling on a pair of skates is more popular than it's been in many a year. James Webster, ITV News, Rotherham.
Really good at
roller skating.
Roller skating, not ice
awful.
skating, yeah.
Had a fall once as a child. Never doing it again.
No.
Right, let's stay with the sporting theme. And after a wet few days, there's finally been some cricket up at Headingley this afternoon.
Yorkshire are hosting Northamptonshire in their final match of the season as they edge towards winning promotion back to Division 1. Arif is live for us on the Western Terrace. Arif, they've had to be very patient up there today, haven't they? Are they pleased with their day's work?
Well, Lara, I have to say, they do say that good things come to those who wait. And I tell you, everyone here has been very patient indeed. They've just finished the day's play, actually. They've literally just gone off, but what a day it's been here at Headingley Stadium. They've only played for about 3 hours, and what a 3 hours it's been. They've restricted Yorkshire, they started fielding, and they've restricted Northamptonshire to 116 for 6. They took 6 wickets so far today, and an excellent day's work, and that'll put them in prime position to be promoted back to Division 1. And even better news, the only team that could possibly stop them, Middlesex, well, there'll be no play down there. So it's all rosy for the White Rose.
So, Arif, a lot riding on the cricket this weekend, and potentially even more riding on a result in the boxing ring tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a huge night tomorrow night for Terry Harper. In her latest showdown for a world title, she's admitted a defeat. Well, that would probably spell the end of her professional boxing career. The former two-time world champion has drawn and lost her last 2 fights, but she told us at her weekly press conference that preparations for her fight for the lightweight world championship against Rhiannon Mills in Sheffield has gone well.
Me and my coach, Paul Juros, I've got him in this camp and he's come in as head coach, and we've really been meticulous this time, like studying, getting sparring partners in. Yeah, it's been a great preparation, and like I said, just ready to go now.
You've already mentioned your last couple of fights, a draw and a defeat.
Yeah.
Is this now, are we in must-win territory now?
Definitely my back's against the ropes, and I'm no fool. I know that I've got to win this fight for my boxing career. Otherwise, it's either back to square one, or do I hold my hands up and say I've done everything that I can do and walk away from sport. But for me, I'm fully focused on Saturday night and getting the job done, and going away, celebrating, and coming back to work.
And finally, from me here at Headingley, the new gold medal winning Georgie Brayshaw has been back to her old school in Harrogate, looking for the next generation of talent.
Halfway to 2 minutes. Easy. You do it once, you do it again.
The Team GB star, who is part of the women's quad sculls rowing team, returned to her old school, St John Fisher Catholic High, to look for the next generation of talent. She was spotted at a similar programme when she was at university, and she hopes pupils today can follow in her footsteps.
Knowing that people from our school have done it in the past, really gives you motivation to go on and try and do it yourself in the future.
It's really cool actually. It's nice to have someone that's as talented as her to come in and see how we can do, and it inspires us to do the same as her.
The teachers here, the PE teachers, some of them were actually my teachers when I was at school, had no idea that I would get into rowing and then become Olympic champion. There's loads of different sports that these people could potentially fit into and potentially become Olympic champions, so it's just finding that raw talent.
Well, the action here has been short and sweet, but certainly been action-packed.
Thank you very much, Arif.
Now, if you're heading out to the countryside this weekend, you're in for a treat.
You certainly are, yes, because around the forest tracks around Pickering, you won't be alone. Some of the country's best rally drivers will be pitting their wits against the clock there.
Yeah, rallying history could be made this weekend by Elliot Payne from Pateley Bridge, as John Hill has been finding out.
Right three fast in, down to the crest 60. Right four very short, full gear, over the 2. Right short 4 in. Right 2, 60. And now, flat crest, and right 1, 80.
They're usually a destination for mountain bikers and ramblers. Tomorrow, Dalby and Cropton Forests will echo to the sounds of elite rally driving. And in the British Trials and Rally Drivers Association, there's really only one person in the driving seat at the moment, and that's Elliot Payne from Pateley Bridge. Taking our cameras for a sedate and legal spin around Filey today, Elliot is on the brink of becoming the first driver in the association's distinguished history to win its title 3 times in succession. And it's unlikely any of his rivals can stop this speedy 21-year-old.
We're going to try win again this weekend. If we win this rally, it means we've won the BTRDA Championship for the 3rd consecutive year. And from what I believe, I don't think anybody's done that for 71 years. So it's going to be pretty special.
Elliot discovered his need for speed as a 12-year-old grass track racing. Dad Charlie is a renowned rally driver, but the family have to balance their passion with their day job, running a dairy.
The family business is Payne's Dairies at Borough Bridge. From 17 I was delivering milk on a daily basis. We certainly were the fastest milkman in Yorkshire, I think. Yeah, it was good.
Certainly this is a young man with a lot of bottle. He shrugged off a broken wrist just 8 weeks ago, and it seems a racing certainty that by Sunday he'll be a champion once more.
Driving through a forest at 120 mile an hour, you can't get much more of a kick from that, I don't think.
Amazing. Good luck, Elliot. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. Do you need dry weather for rallying? Perhaps you do. Let's find out with Joe.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. After a very wet 48 hours for our part of the world, some much needed drier weather as we head into this weekend. Sunny spells over the next couple of days, but cloud will be increasing, and we're keeping our eye on the next weather system moving in from the southwest Sunday night into Monday, which will bring potentially further heavy rainfall. We may need to issue further weather warnings associated with that. In the meantime, we're in a bit of a lull. Thank goodness, drier conditions into tonight and for tomorrow. A little ridge of high pressure giving us a bit of respite before this low pressure system will move up from the southwest Sunday night into Monday, bringing another spell of rain to our part of the world. Back to this evening, we have a feed of showers along North Sea coasts. Other than that, clear, dry conditions, and it is going to be chilly tonight with a widespread frost to come. Rurally, a ground and air frost with temperatures dipping down to freezing or just below. And even in our towns and cities, 3 or 4 degrees tonight with those showers petering out along the coast before dawn. A dry start to Saturday across the board with a few freezing fog patches in 1 or 2 spots, the Vale of York, Trent Valley, before tomorrow morning. On to tomorrow, and the sun will be up at 7:04, setting at around 10 to 7 tomorrow evening. For most of us then, a dry and bright start to the day. Any freezing fog patches will lift fairly quickly through tomorrow morning. It should be a really nice start to Saturday for all of us. Lots of sunshine on offer. Slightly more cloud building for the north and west, for the North York Moors, the Dales and the Pennines by the end of the day, but holding on to dry conditions. 13 Celsius with a slightly more benevolent airflow means it won't feel quite as chilly. Have a great weekend.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Thank you, Joe. So it's good weather for cricket, it's good weather for rallying. I mean, what else do we need?
Perfect weekend weather. I'm back at 10:30. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye for now.